My name is Jessica, and I am from New York. I had always dreamed of visiting China, a land rich in history, culture, and breathtaking landscapes. As my plane landed at Beijing Capital International Airport, I felt a rush of excitement. The moment I stepped outside, the mix of modern skyscrapers and traditional temples amazed me. After checking into my hotel near Tiananmen Square, I decided to explore the nearby streets. The sounds of street vendors, the smell of delicious food, and the sight of red lanterns hanging everywhere made the city feel alive. I stopped at a food stall and tried jianbing, a Chinese savory pancake, and it was absolutely delicious. As the sun set, I walked around the illuminated square, taking in the grandeur of the Forbidden City from a distance. The atmosphere was magical, but I was also exhausted from the long flight. I returned to my hotel, eager for the adventures ahead. The next morning, I joined a tour to the Great Wall of China at Mutianyu, a less crowded section of the wall. The journey there took 2 hours, and as I arrived, I was left speechless. The wall stretched endlessly over green mountains, its ancient stones holding centuries of history. Climbing up the steep steps was tiring, but the breathtaking view at the top made it worth it. I imagined the soldiers who once guarded this very place, watching for invaders from the north. The wind was strong, and the silence up there felt powerful, almost like stepping into the past. After taking dozens of pictures, I rode the famous toboggan slide down, an exciting and fun way to descend. It felt surreal that I was standing on one of the world's most famous landmarks. My adventure in China was only beginning. That evening, I visited a famous restaurant to try Peking duck, a dish Beijing is known for. The crispy skin and tender meat, wrapped in thin pancakes with sweet sauce, tasted heavenly. I sat alone at my table, watching locals enjoy their meals with friends and family, feeling like I had truly entered a new world. After dinner, I explored the lively streets of Wangfujing Night Market. The market was filled with exotic foods, from grilled squid to fried scorpions on skewers. A vendor smiled and encouraged me to try one, but I shook my head, laughing. Some things were just too adventurous for me. As I wandered through the narrow alleys, I felt a tap on my shoulder. A young man smiled and introduced himself, asking if I needed help finding something. Though he seemed friendly, I felt uneasy and politely declined. I decided to head back to my hotel, reminding myself to always stay cautious in unfamiliar places. The next morning, I boarded the high-speed train to Xi'an, home of the famous terracotta warriors. The train was smooth, clean, and incredibly fast, reaching speeds of over 300. I admired the countryside rushing past my window, a mix of farmlands, rivers, and small villages. Arriving in Xi'an, I immediately felt the difference from Beijing. The city was older, with ancient walls and a rich historical atmosphere. I checked into a small guest house near the Muslim Quarter, a famous food street filled with delicious smells and lively crowds. That evening, I walked along the ancient city wall, one of the best preserved in China. The view of the glowing city from the top was breathtaking. I rented a bike and rode around, enjoying the cool night air. It felt surreal to be in a city that had once been the starting point of the Silk Road. The next day, I visited the Terracotta Army, one of China's greatest archaeological discoveries. Seeing thousands of life-sized clay soldiers, each with unique facial features, left me in awe. It was unbelievable to think they had been buried for over 2,000 years. A guide explained how Emperor Qin Shi Huang had ordered their creation to protect him in the afterlife. The size and detail of the warriors were astonishing, making me realize the power and ambition of ancient China. I couldn't help but imagine what other secrets were still buried beneath the land. As I left the site, a local artist offered to carve my name in Chinese characters on a small stone. I happily agreed, taking home a special souvenir to remember this extraordinary place. That evening, I explored the Muslim quarter again, eager to try more local dishes. I sat at a small stall, enjoying yangro paomo, a flavorful lamb soup. The street was crowded, filled with laughter, chatter, and the sizzling sounds of food being cooked. As I walked back to my guest house, I noticed a man following me. At first, I thought it was a coincidence, but when I changed directions, he did too. My heart started pounding and I quickened my pace. Suddenly, I saw a group of tourists ahead and rushed toward them, pretending to be part of their group. The man hesitated, then turned away. I sighed in relief, but knew I had to be extra careful. Traveling solo was exciting, but it also required staying alert. That night, I double-checked my door lock before going to sleep. Wanting a change of scenery, I flew to Chengdu, the land of giant pandas. The moment I arrived at the Chengdu research base of giant panda breeding, I felt like a child again. The sight of adorable pandas munching on bamboo was heartwarming. I spent hours watching them play, climb trees, and roll around lazily. A guide explained how conservation efforts were helping to increase their population. Holding a baby panda was an expensive experience, but I couldn't resist. Its soft fur and sleepy eyes made my heart melt. Afterwards, I explored Jinli Ancient Street, filled with traditional tea houses and shops selling local crafts. I sipped jasmine tea, soaking in the relaxed atmosphere of Chengdu. My next stop was Shanghai, China's modern metropolis. The city was a mix of futuristic skyscrapers and old neighborhoods. My first stop was the Bund, a waterfront area offering stunning views of the skyline. The towering Shanghai Tower, the second tallest building in the world, stood tall among the lights. I visited Yew Garden, a peaceful escape in the middle of the city. The traditional architecture, koi ponds, and quiet pathways felt like stepping into ancient China. I also wandered through Nanjing Road, a shopping street full of dazzling lights and energy. At night, I took a Huangpu River cruise, watching the city glow under the night sky. The mix of East and West in Shanghai was fascinating, making it one of the most unique cities I had ever visited. With my trip coming to an end, I spent my last day in China visiting a tea house. A kind woman showed me the art of tea making, explaining the history behind different teas. I bought a few varieties to take home, hoping to bring a piece of China back with me. I also visited a local calligraphy class, where I tried my hand at writing Chinese characters. It was harder than it looked, but I loved the experience. The teacher smiled and said I had done well, though I knew he was just being polite. That evening, I sat by the river, watching the city lights one last time. My journey through China had been filled with beauty, history, excitement, and a few challenges. As I boarded my flight back to the USA, I reflected on everything I had experienced. China had been welcoming, fascinating, and unforgettable. From the Great Wall to the Pandas, from street food to historic temples, every moment had been special. As the plane took off, I looked at my souvenirs, a panda keychain, a calligraphy scroll, and my name carved in stone. They were small reminders of a big adventure. I smiled, knowing that I would return one day. China had left a mark on my heart, and I couldn't wait for my next journey.